Central bank has different name in different countries, but it's not necessary to know each. In some countries, it's called Federal Reserve Bank. In some countries, National Bank. But central bank is easy enough to understand for me and you to communicate. And central bank is a custodian of the government. That means the money of the government is deposited here. It might be the money that's collected in the form of tax or in any other way, but it's the custodian for the government monies and financial related thing. And is a banker of all banks because it collects a different amount of money from different banks in the form of reserve, which is both in the profit or initial paid up capital plus. Sometimes this central bank gives an overnight note with a minor interest to different banks when they don't have enough money to pay for their depositors. But one thing we do not have talked about is why central bank collects all of these reserves from different banks. Because banks are financial institutions that has a higher impact in the overall financial performance of the company. So if one bank fails, it has a huge impact or consequence in the economy of the country. So protecting different banks in financial crisis is must, and that needs a financial regulation which is performed by central bank. If the central bank doesn't take a reserve from different banks, probably if the financial crisis happens, the banks might not have enough money to pay for their depositors. This will not only affect the bank, but however, it will also affect any depositors that are in this country or in that country. So when financial crisis happens, these central banks lend the money that they took from different banks in the form of reserve. So people or customers or depositors will not suffer from financial crisis. This will increase the confidence for each individual or customers to deposit their money in the bank rather than holding it on their pocket or their home or in piggy bank or any other boxes they found in their home. Also initiates different people to save in the bank. This is the main aim or agenda of taking different reserves from banks, different amount of reserves from banks depending on their initial paid up capital and profit. Also sometimes if the banks has a higher non-performing loan is the money that is not collected or remain uncollectible after lending it from different customers. So when that customer cannot pay the money back to the bank, the money is called a non-performing loan. The loan given but might not be returned. When one bank has too much amount of non-performing loans, a central bank might limit or restrict that bank from lending money for some period of time, because if the bank fails, not only the bank but the different depositors and customers in that bank might also be affected. It's an obligation for the central bank to protect the financial system as a whole and protect individual depositors from. That's why central bank highly regulates individual bank. And central bank is not a bank of individuals, however it's held by the government. We call it also as an agent of a government. Also when it has an obligation to set up paid up capital, interest rate, market interest rate limit, and money supply, money demand. Also when different monies are disposed, it can print equal amount of money without affecting the total money supply present in that country. When different monies are disposed, rather than throwing it away, he might print equal amount of new monies to change the new for the old one. It can also affect. It can also have the power. He can also have the power to affect different job opportunities and inflation in the country. It's called an advisor of the government in different financial situations. It's a holder of government money or an agent, that like we have seen different in previous few minutes. Sometimes it determines the foreign exchange price. If the country has some expensive goods in the form of commodity, not in a financial asset but in real estate, goods that, for example, diamonds that are essential for the country, this fund can be used as a custody for this kind of goods, holding the country's commodity. Also, it works on devaluation and revaluation of currency. Devaluation means to increase the devaluation to decrease or to devaluate the currency power. Devaluation means to increase the power of the currency. It makes the government international payments on behalf of the government. It gives loans for the government